In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace your valve cover gasket on your Kia Soul. It's located under your engine cover, under the hood. You're going to want to disconnect your negative battery terminal. All right, we're going to disconnect our negative battery terminal. Use a 10mm socket. Make sure you put your terminal off to the side, not touching any metal. Take off your engine cover. You're going to do that by pulling up. It's held on with these. All right, taking a look at our connectors, the only connectors that I see that I may mix up when putting it back together is probably these two or these two. So I mark the outside ones just with a crayon, just for my own mental note that the outside ones go out that way. Now we're going to disconnect our connectors. You do that by pulling up on the tab and unplugging. So that can go off to the side. Next, I'm going to unplug our camshaft position sensors. Unplug that. Push down on this metal spring. Put that off to the side. Next, I'm going to disconnect this. The other end is on the air box. It's probably a little easier. There you go. Now we can disconnect this hose. And we can disconnect our injectors. These should just be a push in and pull. Careful with the wires. I'm going to free up this harness here. Use a trim tool and it should just pop out. And we can set this off to the side as well. I'm going to undo this harness here. Gentle with the wires. Plastic gets brittle over time, especially if you live in extreme temperatures. I'm going to disconnect this back here. So this one has a pick up the tab kind of a connector. I'll put this over here. So now we're clear. You're looking for anything that may interrupt us taking off the valve cover. And installing. We can take our dipstick out. Now I'm going to vacuum if I do not have any gas leak anywhere or smell of gas. You can vacuum this out. If you do have that, you might be better off using compressed air to get rid of that. I'm going to cover my hole for the dipstick before I use compressed air. I'm going to use a 10mm socket and remove your coils. I like to put things back where I find them, so I have a piece of cardboard set up where I can label everything. Now we're going to start taking out our 10mm socket bolts. I'm going to go across the way as we take them out, back and forth. I like to use my manual tools as opposed to power tools for any sort of engine stuff, so I can feel the bolts as they come out, because sometimes you get a trouble bolt. Alright, so now I'm just going to kind of try to free up my valve cover. Be gentle. You don't want to gouge the head, which is what's under the valve cover. Go to opposite ends. Don't pry up against anything important. There is a bit of silicone on the seams, so that's what we're unsticking mostly. There we are. So I recommend putting a clean rag of some sort over the internal parts of the engine before cleaning, because you don't want chunks of debris going down in there. So wrap it up nice. Save you a lot of work later too, trying to get it all out if you do drop anything in there. So now we're going to go around. I recommend using one of these plastic razor blades as opposed to metal. Metal will gouge aluminum pretty easily, and then you'll have some issues there. Push the dirt out instead of in. So initially clean it manually, and then if you want, you can get your die grinder in there with a very soft attachment. And then get the old silicone off as best as possible. We are going to be applying more silicone on the seams. So. All right, so we're going to take our old gasket off. A lot of it should just peel off. Put that off to the side. There's also these little guys that were part of that at one point. And now we got to take out these seals. Usually need some sort of a prying device here, instrument. So you're going to want to use a flathead screwdriver or a pry bar and take those out. Okay, once you get those out, wipe them out. Clean out where the gasket's going to be. You can use a rag if you need to. If there's any debris in there, and a flathead screwdriver. All right, so we have oil residue in our groove where the gasket lives, and I don't really want to leave that there. So I'm going to use some brake pot cleaner in there. Make sure it's a dry surface and not oily. So after I'm done spraying that, I am going to put it down like this so that it can all drip out. All right, so we are going to install new seals. Put them in, and press down. Make sure they're flush with the lip. Now we are ready to put our new gasket on. Make sure this part is facing the groove. Make sure you lock it into place right here. Be gentle. You don't want to rip it. And then you're just gonna follow it along. Okay, once that's on, we're gonna install it. All right, remember to remove your rag from the engine. We're ready to put our gasket maker on the seams. So you're gonna use a pretty big glob, and you're gonna put one here where the seam is, and you're gonna put one here. So we're gonna start in the back. And you're gonna put one here. I usually give it a minute or so before I put a gasket down, just to get it to stiffen up a little bit. Next, you're going to apply, you just use a finger, a little oil on the lip portion of these seals. And also on the cylinders where the spark plugs live. You don't want the oil going down in there, just on the lip. All right, so here we are. Now it's time to place our valve cover down, get a good handle on it. Make Make sure your wiring harnesses are out of the way. Make sure you're lined up where you need to be. And slowly drop it down. Make sure everything's out from under it and able to access. That looks good to me. All right, now that your valve cover is down, you are going to put all your bolts in and start tightening in a sequence order. 4.3 foot-pounds at first, and then you're going to do another round and do the final torque at 7.2 foot-pounds. So right now I'm just looking to find where the bolts go. I'm not worried about tightening anything, just finger tightening. So the first step is to tighten them in order. We're going to start here on number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, number 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. So you're going to do that round first, torquing it at 4.3 foot-pounds, and then do another round, the same order, at 7.2 foot-pounds. Tighten this down. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So now we're done with the valve cover, seating it down, torquing it. We're going to put our coils back. So we're going to put this, I have mine lined up. Hopefully you do too. And just press down. Press down. Sometimes you might have to go up and down a little bit with these new seals. All right, then we can hand tighten these. These ignition coil bolts will be torqued to 90 inch-pounds. All right, so now we're ready to connect our connectors and our hoses. So I'm going to just walk our way through, same way we took them off. So you're going to reconnect your harnesses into their little places where they live. Plug in the back sensor. Make sure we connect the injectors right. One goes there. Don't forget to put your hose clamp back. Now we're going to connect our ignition coils. Just make sure that gray clip is still up when you press it on, and then lock it in. All right. And my mental note of the yellow markings are on the outer ones. It's still there, so I know I connected those right. Now I'm going to put my cam position sensors in. Push down on that spring. Lock it in. Check it. Follow around. Gotta connect this. Push that on. All right, now we can put our dipstick in. All right, you just want to make sure that you've connected everything. I noticed that I saw this. This was not connected, so make sure that's in where it lives. Let's do another once over. I'm going to connect our negative battery terminal. Push it down all the way. Get a 10mm socket. And tighten it down. Just make sure you check your terminal, make sure it doesn't move once you have it on your battery. Start it up, make sure the car runs, and just watch for any sort of leaking. After you check for leaks, you can shut the vehicle off, put your engine cover back on, like this. And now you can take it for a test drive.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.